It's a small town jukebox rock and roll. Yeah, like Coltrane playing when it hits your soul. Get the whole thing shaking when we hit the floor. Yeah, we're just getting started. Let's see where it goes. Harder than the summer. Harder than the summer. Feeling the heat. We got everybody burning at 100 degrees. Harder than the summer. You know what I mean. It's that old school drop top, won't let you down. It's that hush, hush, here it comes, talk of the town. Make your head stand up and your chin hit the ground. Get you all fired up, keep working it out. Harder than the summer. Harder than the summer. Feeling the heat. We got everybody burning at 100 degrees. Harder than the summer. You know what I mean. Harder than the summer and I'm feeling the heat. Harder than the summer and you know what I mean. Harder than the summer and I'm feeling the heat. Harder than the summer. Harder than the summer. Harder than the summer. Harder than the summer. Feeling the heat. We got everybody burning at 100 degrees. Harder than the summer. You know what I mean. Harder than the summer and I'm feeling the heat. Harder than the summer and I'm feeling the heat. We got
One. Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are tuning in. Welcome to Speedster's live chat. I'm your host, Louis Pang, based here in Malaysia. I'm a cycling coach here. This is a long form interview. It's like a podcast, but on video for about 30 to 45 minutes. And today we are talking about how Aero is Lucy Charles. We're going to dive into that. Something very interesting today. I'm going to be taking a back seat. I'll have 9-time Ironman finisher Chan Junshen, who will be our host. Hi Chan, how are you doing?
Great.
Now,
How are you?
So today, I'm good. I understand that you set a PB today, and perhaps you can share with the audience later on. Now, today, what has going to happen, just to let you know, is that Chan will take over the asking of questions. I will be answering the question instead. So this is going to be very cool. So off to you, Chan.
Okay. Hi guys. I'm Chan, one of the athlete coached by Coach Louis. So basically, I've been working with him closely for about 2 months now, and I've been seeing a lot of great results through Aero testing. So today we are going to talk about Aero testing, and some of it we will try to do a case study on Lucy Charles. And just so you know, last 2 weeks I scored a personal best for my 100-kilometer time trial.
Wow.
I shaved 5 minutes off, and this morning I did another one. I shaved 2 minutes off again. So total I shaved about 7 minutes ever since I work closely with Coach Louis.
Wow,
because
I'm very happy to hear that.
Talking about training, we are talking about what we have been doing is just improving aerodynamics.
Yes.
As he always say, aerodynamic is a low-hanging fruit. Okay, let's get going.
Yes, man.
Okay, my first question, Coach. Let's introduce yourself and your Sabah team.
Sure. I've been coaching part-time in 2017. So in that year, I was coaching part-time, and I was looking after 3 to 4 athletes. And when I first started, nobody wanted to coach with me. because I'm not. I'm not a ex-national athlete. I'm not an ex-state cyclist. Nothing like that. I was a photographer. I fell in love with cycling, and then I went crazy about cycling. Started reading books about training and all that, and then I went for to obtain a UCI Level 1 coaching certification in Thailand. Came back and started coaching, and so that was how we started with 3 athletes. And then in 2018, I was appointed as a full-time coach. And this time in 2018, we had to go to prepare for the Malaysian Games. So I went for that, and that was really exciting because one of the events that was the year that we had a lot of track cycling events, and Sabah had never been onto the track. Okay, never. We don't even have a velodrome. I remember the first time we set foot into a velodrome, it was like 8 months before Sukma. Before that, we have never seen a velodrome. We've never touched a velodrome. So 8 months before Sukma, we went for our first competition, and we were looking at, wow, there's the black line, the red line, and there's the blue line. What are all these things, and then the banking of the velodrome is very steep. We had no clue, but we just went out and all guns blazing. That was our first competition, and then we prepared really hard for Sukma, and to everybody's surprise, we won 2 bronze medals, one in team pursuit and one in individual pursuit. For those of you who are not so well versed with track cycling, team pursuit is a bit like team time trials, but you're doing it in the on the track in the oval instead. And individual pursuit is like time trial, individual time trial. Yes, and with all track cycling events, there's no use of you can't put your Garmin computer in front of your stamp so you can pace according to your power or anything. No aids at all. You can you can still have your power meter and your Garmin head unit, but it has to be mounted in a way that it is not aiding you. You can use it to record the data, but you cannot use it to aid you while you're competing. So it's really adrenaline rush. It's raw kind of competition, and I absolutely love it. And from there on, I've been thinking and reading and try to learn more about aerodynamics, and it leads to where we are today. Chan, you mentioned about setting a personal best. Maybe you want to tell us, what distance did you cover that shaved you this time over and over, and give us a bit of details about that. Can you?
When my previous best before working with you was I averaged about 33.3 for my 100-kilometer time trial. Basically, what I do is I'll cycle around the naval base 20 times.
Okay.
One loop is 5 kilometers.
Okay.
So,
so that's your velodrome.
It's a mini velodrome.
Okay.
Hey, no, it's an oversized velodrome.
Yes.
Okay. So, the challenge of riding in a naval base, because the naval base is next to the sea, and you have a different air pressure and undulating course.
Okay.
So it tests your technique, it tests your gears, your handling, and a lot of other stuff.
So you shave 5 minutes off that, and then another 2 minutes off that today. So
Yes.
you have been breaking. What about your power output? Is it similar or higher than before? What contribute to that? Did you look into that?
My previous one, it was the same power, but this morning the power is slightly higher.
Okay. Congratulations to you. Looking forward.
Thank you.
For
Thanks
all
to
our
you.
viewers, we are Chan and I. We are working together to implement aero testing and aerodynamics into Chan's racing, and of course, the big goal is Ironman Langkawi 2021. And I'm sure there'll be Powerman, there'll be Desaru, there'll be other smaller races leading up to that, and we will be rolling out our strategies and testing and technology and understanding into all that. Yeah, sorry. I'm back to being a host. You are the host, so back to you again. Yes, Chan.
Okay. I believe the audience already listened to our experience and what are the gains that I've already achieved. I'm a nine times Ironman finisher, so looking into aero testing is something new to me, and all this while, even though I have 9 times Ironman finisher, so I haven't done any aero testing. So, okay, let's go to the next question to Coach Luis.
Yeah.
Aero test is a low-hanging fruit, as you have mentioned to me
Yes.
time and time
Yep.
again. Okay, let's look at the elites, the world champions, and all the top 3 podium finishers in Kona, Langkawi. Lucy Charles is one of the famous one, and we see her position change over time.
Yes.
And as the years come by, you see her getting more and more aggressive.
Yes.
So, from aerodynamic perspective, what are the changes that you notice?
Okay, let me bring up the slides so we can talk about that. Now, if we look into Lucy Charles' 2017 position, we just look at the distance between her hand and her face. Okay, so if we look at aerodynamics, we are talking about the total area that is exposed to wind resistance. So you can see from the 2017 position, her head is way above. Her head is above her shoulder. The tail of her helmet is hanging, is not touching the shoulder. The gap between her chin, her face, and the hands are very, very big. So that is the thing that we can see. And if you compare it to the 2019 position, the face and the hands are much closer together. And when you drop your chin down in this manner, when you bring the hand to be closer to the chin, what happened is we actually reduced the frontal area. If we measure from the tip of the helmet to the bottom of the elbow pads, if you just measure that as an area, you can see that the area has been reduced significantly. We don't even need aerodynamic sensors or wind tunnel testing to see that she has lowered her frontal area, make the frontal area smaller. And one of the thing I always look at in aerodynamics is also the tail of the helmet. In 2017, the tail of the helmet was hanging. Okay, there's a gap between the tail of the helmet and her back. So that area would create turbulence. Okay, whereas in the 2019 position, we can see that the tail is touching the back. So that gives her a smooth, the airflow, a smooth area to go through the back of the helmet to the back of her body and goes right through. Oh, and obviously that is a new bike. The 2017 she was using the S-Work, the previous version of specialized time trial bike, and in 2019 is the specialized shift with these brakes. Obviously, I'm not sure. We don't know how big an aero gain she make on the bike, but from her position, that is a massive gain. Now, I just also want to bring your attention to the armrest where she put her arms. Between 2017 and 2019, in 2019 she's using speedbar.nl. If you go to Instagram, speedbar.nl, if you search under speedbar.nl, you're gonna find a Dutch-based maker. So the armrest that we're seeing on Lucy Charles' bike here is made by that gentleman. I forgot his name. And these are molded according to the shape of your forearms. Okay, they create a plaster of the shape of your forearm, and then they custom make this carbon armrest for you. So this complete piece of armrest actually holds your arm together. So it gives you a lot of comfort. It also improves aerodynamics. This bar is also used in the UCI hour record. When Victor Campaneris set the hour record, it was also using a similar bar that is made by Speed Bar. So those are the aero gains that changes in aerodynamics that Lucy Charles have put into. And according to my calculations, and this kind of formulas is all available out there. I reckon that Lucy Charles have shaved anywhere between 10 to 15% of her CDA. If we look at let's look into her race time. Okay, so there's a difference in her race time. If you look into her race time, okay, let me see this. Okay, in the 2017 results, you can see that Lucy Charles' bike time was, let me see that, 4 hours and 57 minutes. And if we move it to 2019, she shaved, it's 4 hours 47 minutes. So she shaved 11 minutes off her bike time. Now, obviously, it's not an apple to apple comparison. We do not know what is the the differences in terms of the weather conditions. It's not like for like comparison, but we can see that just from the photographs itself. I mean, if you have higher air density on certain days, it will affect your time. If there is a stronger wind on between 2017 and 2019, if there was stronger wind in 2017, that would have affected her time. But if we just consider that all things being equal, everything being equal, if it is similar wind conditions, similar air density, weather conditions on both days, and Lucy Charles was racing in that two different positions, we are talking about a 12 to 15% of aerodynamic drag of a CDA reduction. Now, if you reduce your drag by 12 to 15%, I reckon for her to achieve that time that she achieved, she would need to generate about 250 watts. So she would have probably saved about 30 watts. So in 2019, she could use the same speed and go 1.2, 1.5 kilometers faster with the same power. That's what it means. So it is absolutely massive when we think about aerodynamics, because if we don't optimize our position on the bike, we are wasting our energy fighting the wind. Okay, the person is the same, but how we position ourselves on the bike is absolutely critical.
So you're saying whether you are elite, you are amateur, or whatever, as long as you are into racing, you should consider aerodynamic.
Oh yeah, I think that if you are into going faster, if your interest is going faster than your mates or going faster in a race, the aerodynamics is definitely an area we must look into.
Okay, very good. My next question is, out of so many aero equipment, from the helmet, and you have the aero suit, you have the calf sleeves, you have a TT bike, you have the aero bar, you have aero bottle, aero wheel, disc wheels, and all sorts of aero stuff. So in your opinion, what should be the first equipment that you purchase for aero gain?
The first thing to optimize is the cyclist, because the cyclist accounts for 80% of the drag. The bicycle, it may be about 20%. Okay, so logically, we want to improve the cyclist, because that is 80% of where our drag is coming from. But in our country and in most places, people are more interested in buying a new bike and buying a new aero wheels. But so if you have a TT bike already, and you already have aero wheels, and you already have aero helmets, and you already have skin suit, you can't go any faster. So the only place that you can improve is the cyclist. A few weeks ago, I was going out training with our athletes, and we in a car, we were heading to our destination, and we passed by this huge convoy of, I think they are triathletes, because all of them are on very exotic, very expensive time trial bikes.
So you're saying triathletes are very rich, is it?
Well, I'm saying that, this is an expensive sport, and it's good to see people are investing into the equipment. All I'm saying here is we probably need to start investing time and effort into optimizing our body on the bike. Because if if you're already riding a time trial bike, if you're already using an Aero helmet and expensive Aero wheels, so all that has been optimized. There's no room. Where else can you improve? We must improve the cyclist then. So I think the position is number one. The second thing we want to think about is definitely the suit that you're wearing. Because the body accounts for 80% of the drag. So how a fast piece of suit would save you a lot of times. And in our testing recently, we find that they can be up to like 5 to 7% of reduction in drag between one suit and another. So that's another area we want to investigate more to find answers to cheap gains, really cheap gains, because you're riding 5 hours, 6 hours on a bike in Ironman, and that is one area that you cannot save costs on.
When you say cheap gain, those suits are not cheap, but if you compare the speed gain over the cash that you spend, I believe that is one of the biggest bang for the buck.
Yes, definitely. In triathlon, you probably can't use shoes cover because you have to from your swimming, you jump onto the bike and then you pedal off, so you don't have time to wear a shoe cover. Shoe cover is one of the cheapest aero gain, bang for buck. But in triathlon you can use like calf sleeves. So the difference between a cotton sock and an aero socks, there are a lot of numbers being put out there. Any saving about 4 to 8 watts just wearing the more aerodynamic socks, for example. I say cheap because I'm not saying that spending $1,000 on a skin suit or your triathlon suit is a cheap investment. But if you compare that to oversized pulley or very exotic ceramic bearings, I would put my money on a good suit, because we would definitely get more gains out of that versus ceramic bearings and pulleys.
Well, when I first started the sport, the first piece of aero equipment that I bought was an aero bar. So at that time, we didn't have all these YouTube channel people sharing about aero gains and all.
Yes.
But my seniors told me, when you ride long, you gotta put on aero bar. I didn't know about aerodynamics. I just felt like when I put on the aero bar, I rode a lot easier.
Yes.
And I can run fresh.
Oh, definitely.
So, yeah.
If you're in triathlon, definitely you need to be comfortable riding on your time trial bars that way. Because putting your hands on a traditional road bike hood, is just not comfortable. You're going to put a lot of pressure. You're going to tire your limbs. Sorry?
You're like a sail when you.
Well, then I have seen a lot of sail on TT bikes too. So, but let's not get there. Okay.
Okay. The thing is, now we need to understand aerodynamics. I would like to emphasize on this. We need to understand aerodynamics and where we spend our money, because the whole purpose of investing is to invest in speed gains.
Yes.
What's the point of buying equipments that don't suit your body? It might look popular, it might look expensive and all, but the speed gain is not much. And you spend 30,000 ringgit on a TT bike and you are riding upright. The reason you ride upright is because you're not comfortable.
Yep.
You're not comfortable probably because you haven't done any bike fit. And then you just think that the bike is fast.
Yes.
But the rider is slowing the bike down by riding like a sail.
Yes. So if our body is too upright, even on a TT bike, it's a TT bike versus a road bike. We mentioned already, the bicycle is 20% of the drag. So if you spend money on a more expensive bike, yes, we will see gains. We will see you going faster, but we're improving that 20%. So my argument here is we should work on my argument is work on the 80% first, because that would give you the biggest gain. So from my experience of working with you, working with the athletes on our team, it takes to ride on a time on an aerodynamic position requires a lot of concentration. It requires building habit. It's required rewiring the brain. Our brain, we always talk about muscle memory. So the muscle has gotten used to riding like a sail. You're fighting the wind. So now we have to reformat the hard disk and install new memory or new programming code into it, so that the body will learn how to ride in a more aerodynamic position. And when we first started, we find that we struggle to even do it for 1 minute, 2 minutes. But as you put more time to practice it, the body is an amazing thing. It can adapt to whatever we dish out for our body to use. So we are seeing those gains, and I think that the aerodynamic gains is not just for track cyclists, it's not just for road cyclists, it's for everyone, especially triathletes and people competing in Ironman.
Totally agree. Before I started the Aero test with you, remember you told me to get the Garmin head unit.
Yes.
And it took me a while to convince myself to get a unit for
Yes.
myself. I already have a Phoenix 5X on my
Yes.
wrist. So I thought by having a watch on my wrist, I can just have a glimpse and
Yes.
maintain my power.
Yes.
But I was so wrong, because during the Aero test, as we can see, my drag numbers and my power, it took me a while to stabilize my power. My power is like spiking up there and down.
Uh-huh.
So basically, it's like an interval, which is not economy from effort perspective. So so this morning I rode with the Garmin Edge fitted on my Aero bar.
Yes.
So it helps me better in terms of power management and the way I pace. I set the screen, and then I just keep the power as consistent as possible.
Yeah. Well, it's my personal view that because I'm coming purely from a cycling background, and working with you actually offers me a lot of insight into what people do in triathlon and in Ironman. So I look at things from a very fresh perspective. So one of the things I noticed when we were doing Aero tests on you is you will ride, and then you will tilt your head this way to look at the watch that is on your hand, and then you will ride again, and then and every time you do this, right, you are moving away from the Aero position, right? So that is a penalty on your race, okay? Because every time you change, you do this, you are enlarging that drag area, and it becomes a penalty for you. So I was thinking, why for time trialists, road time trialists, we always mount the cycling computer and at the front end, so we don't have to change any position in order to see our pacing, the power output, our heart rate, the data. We don't have to do anything like that at all. So that's why I recommended. Why don't you consider getting a Garmin Edge? I'm glad you did, and I am certain that it will improve you in many days to come.
Yeah. So this morning, by having the head unit on my Aero bar, pacing is a lot easier. And then I set the laps.
Yes.
Where I can see the time.
Yes.
So one lap, 5 kilometers, I need to hit it below 9:30. If I go off 9:30, then I have a lot of catch up to do. So by having all those data nicely laid out, it really helps.
Yeah, and it's also a bigger screen. It allows more data fields versus a watch. A watch, I think you can have up to maybe 4 data fields.
You can download the apps from Connect IQ to get more data field, but the screen is only that big.
Yes, exactly. Because the screen is already very small, to squeeze more data field into a watch is very, very inconvenient. So I'm glad it worked out for you.
So now that I shave off 5 minutes, and this week 2 minutes, what if next week I don't see any gain? I really need to
so the gains,
like all the minor details.
now the gains that you are talking about, Chan, is you're riding at about the same kind of power output, but you're seeing your time improving, coming down 5 minutes and then coming down another further 2 minutes. So you have totally improved 7 minutes. And that is not by improving your power, right, Chan? So I think that as your body get used to riding in the new position, you get stronger. When I say stronger, it doesn't mean your quads and your glutes and your calves only.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the whole kinetic chain, the whole body being stronger. You have stronger shoulders, you have stronger traps, you have stronger mid back, lower back, stronger core. It will improve your aerodynamics over time. And we have not even gone into your periodization plan and your physiological improvement. You have already shaved 7 minutes in a 100 kilometer effort from your personal best. So it's exciting time. For me, I don't think that shaving, say for in Langkawi, to shave 20-30 minutes is not out of reach. It is not. If we can combine aerodynamics, savings in watts, and then combine it with improvement in physiology, if we can improve 20-30 watts, which is not impossible in a year, if you gain 30 watts in aerodynamics and you gain 30 watts in physiology, so that's 60 watts gain. And it's near impossible to find 60 watts from training power alone. It's almost impossible to do that in 1 year.
You know what I like the most about aero testing? You are not putting extra effort. You are just relearning a new position.
Yes.
Your muscle is still working the same, but then you're seeing big gains. So this is good.
Yes, from 33.5 to 35, right? You mentioned. So that's 1.5 kilometers an hour.
Before we did the test, I was 33.3, my best.
Okay.
And now I'm 35.3 this morning.
So you are 2 kilometers an hour faster than your previous time.
Yeah.
Than before we tested you.
I don't think I'm that much fitter.
I mean, from the power output, you know how much effort you put in.
Yeah, I know. I know the power because from my Garmin Vector power meters and the age and all from the power data, numbers don't lie.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So very nice, very nice. Okay, let's get to the next question. Okay. When we did the aero test, we need a few devices to quantify the data. One of it is power meter and the head unit and no-show connect.
Yes.
And then all these devices will
speed sensor.
gather the data, and then Coach Luis will do his job. Yeah.
Yes.
So, can you talk a bit about quantifying the aero gains by using all these devices? And can you talk a bit about the test protocol? What we have done for my previous 2 aero tests?
The testing is quite straightforward. As you mentioned, we need the no-show connect aero sensors. We need the head unit. We were using the Garmin 530. You need a speed sensor. You need a power meter. So we have to make sure that all these things are working properly, full battery charged, all that, and pacing doing it correctly, doing the test correctly is important. So I told you to pace accordingly. Don't accelerate, don't slow down, just steady pace, going and coming back. So those are the important things. I think it's exciting time. If we look at cycling, we were looking at the Ironman 2007, Kona 2017 and Kona 2019 results just now. I just have a quick glance. If you compare the 2 Konas, like 2017 versus 2019, you see an improvement, a big improvement in cycling time in the men and the women. And this is not a coincidence, because in the last 3 years, there's so much new understanding and deeper development into being more aerodynamics. The easy thing, like people are spending more time in wind tunnels. It's accessible in the UK, in Europe, not over here, unfortunately. And then you have products like No Show Connect, Aero sensors being put out there. And then you have a movement that we see in track cycling by the Hoop Watt Bike team, using aerodynamics into their advantage, beating teams that they're not supposed to beat. You know, these are 4 guys who are very ordinary. They are not national athletes per se. They just came out of nowhere. A bunch of university graduates form a team, and they start beating the national teams. Then go to international competition. They start beating national teams. So that caused a lot of movement and understanding and awareness in the cycling realm that we need to look into aerodynamic gains.
Yeah, so during the aero testing, one of the test protocol was to maintain a steady power, right?
Yes.
So the blunder that I did, just to share with the audience, I don't mind sharing my mistakes because I hope you guys can learn from it. So I have these pacing issues whereby I'm so used to riding based on how I feel, and I do look at the numbers but not having it in front of me every second.
Yes.
So so the blunder that I did was the first loop I was making 160 watts.
Yeah.
And then the coming loop I was making 180 watts or something. And
Yes.
when you look at the graph, my powers were spiking all the time.
Yes.
So whenever I get distracted or something, I'll be seeing spikes and all. So that is something new for me. During aero testing, I also learned how to do a proper pacing.
Yes.
That will indirectly contribute to my economy of racing effort.
Yes, because when we cycle, the power goes up and then comes down and goes up and then comes down. It becomes too taxing for the body to handle the effort. So if we can maintain a steady pace, that is more economical, energy-wise, and so physiological-wise. I have a question here from Shen Square in Instagram, and she asked me, if you don't mind, I take up questions. She said, how can I get over the fear of cycling on the road? I was told to cycle more, but I'm just as afraid of traffic and cars as I was when I just started. So today she's still as afraid as she was when she first cycling. So how can she overcome that fear? There's no easy answer to this, because fear is a very potent emotion. Fear is very, very powerful. So how to overcome this fear? I would say that 2 suggestions. Number 1, try to be as competent as you can on the bike. Competent in handling, in cornering, in braking normally, and how to perform emergency braking. So if your competency on the bike is higher, that would improve your confidence. If I'm very competent in something, I become very confident in doing it, and when I'm confident in doing it, it will allay my fears. Okay, so that would be one of my suggestions. And the second thing is about mindset. Okay, what do we see in our head when we go and cycle? We have pictures of blood and hit by a car, and then a bike and helmets all over the place. Sorry, it's a bit graphic. If we start having we visualize very morbid things, we think of the worst, that is gonna inhibit us. Now we can teach our brain to think about what is positive. I think about having fun on my bike. I think about cornering successfully, going down the descent successfully. I visualize myself braking well. So when I start seeing positive pictures in my head, usually the outcome is positive. So that would be my suggestions: to visualize things that make you happy, to visualize a happy outcome from your cycling.
I have some tips for her also.
Sure, go ahead.
For her. Okay, you know some athletes, when they swim in the pool, they imagine themselves being chased by sharks and all those funny creatures. All those creatures don't exist in the pool. Okay.
Yes.
when you are too relaxed, you are not occupied with a certain task, then your mind tend to have all these funny thinking.
Yep.
What if you set a goal, you set a time, you set a target that you need to score, a short target. Let's say every 5 kilometer you need to score a certain time,
Yes.
or every by the time you come to a certain turn, you should be scoring a certain time, a certain average power or average speed. Is that doesn't matter. There should be a goal. When you have a goal, your mind will be busy.
Yes.
So it's a positive distraction that helps you to stay focused.
Yes.
So that is what I do. Sometimes when I swim in the pool also, especially when I swim alone, then I start to imagine a shark coming and all those crocodiles or whatever.
Sure.
But when you're swimming at top speed, you got no time for it.
Yes.
So Shen always swim. So that is why I pull up this swimming example.
Very,
So it
very good
cycling as
idea.
well.
Very good
Yeah.
suggestion. Positive preoccupation. Very cool. I'll try that too.
Keep your mind occupied.
Yes. We
Okay.
have time for one last question. Sure.
Okay.
Chan.
Yeah. Triathlon is a growing sport, and then now we are still in MCO, so it's a challenge for organizers to have all these sporting activities and races and so on.
Yes.
So, as a coach, from your perspective, what can we, especially the amateur athletes, do during this MCO period?
Okay. Whether it's triathlon or road cycling or track cycling, we are all in the same boat with the pandemic. A lot of events are cancelled. We don't know what races we have in track, in road as well in 2020. So the way I help my team focus is we try to set not outcome goals, but we try to set some process goals. What I mean by that is, instead of aiming, okay, I'm going to win the next race, I'm going to position this top 10 in this race. So we switch our focus to, okay, we want to improve our aerodynamics, or we want to improve our core strength, so learn techniques, because for us, riding in an aerodynamic position is a very important technique, and it's not easy to learn. So we spend time learning that technique and then measuring the outcome of our runs when we ride in the velodrome or we ride on the road, so we can know where is our CDA this week, where is our CDA next week, where is our CDA the next week. So that keep us occupied. I would say focus on picking up techniques. Triathlon is not just it's not a competition about power. It's not about who has the biggest power wins the Ironman Langkawi, wins Kona. No, if racing is about power, then it will be a Zwift race. Because in Zwift races, usually the person with the biggest power output wins the race. No, it's not about that. Let's learn some technique. Learn cornering. Learn descent. Learn how to brake. In my encounter with some triathletes, I noticed that these are the areas that really need to work on. How to U-turn properly. How to do a tight U-turn so that you don't waste time. And descending is another big thing. Look at Langkawi terrain. It's very technical, lots of climbing and lots of descent. So if we are braking, holding our brakes all the way down the hill, we're wasting precious time. If we can ride in the aero position going down the hill, we could have saved a few minutes in the entire race just in the downhill alone. So I would think that at this pandemic, when there's no racing going on, let's have fun. Let's invest time into learning techniques and improving our techniques. So when the racing really comes, we know a fixed racing date, and when we really gear up for upping our power, upping our mileage, and all that jazz, we already built a solid foundation technically.
Nice, very good. Just like what I learned during the aero testing with you, so I learned to get my elbow narrower and do that tug and all those things. It's a relearning of a new posture.
Yes.
So overall, it's a very nice experience.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, it's really fun
So-
working with you, Chan, in aero testing, because we have done aero tests super competitive teenagers. So to do it on you, a 9-time Ironman finisher, is slightly different because the discipline is slightly different. The principle is the same. How we fit track cyclists and how we adjust your bike would be slightly different. In track cycling, we are going full gas for 4 minutes. You are going full gas for 5 hours, 6 hours. So the principle is the same. We still want to make you more aero, but we will not fit you like we fit a track cyclist, because the requirement for your event is completely different from ours.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Chan, for hosting this interview. Guys, so if you are new to this channel, this is what we do every Saturday for about 45 minutes. We go online, deep dive into a topic. If this is something that you enjoy, consider hitting the subscribe button and also the bell button so you're notified every time we have a new content coming right up. And next week we will be talking to a very exciting personality in cycling, Dan Bickham. He is the captain of the Hoop World Bike team. He's the aerodynamicist that is working together with the Danish national team, who has broken the world record 3 times in 2 days at the World Championship 2020. So we'll be talking to Dan next week, same time, 4 p.m. Malaysian, 6 p.m. Melbourne, 9 a.m. in UK. So if you're keen to learn more about aerodynamics, Dan will be coming online next week. And until then, God bless you. Take care. Goodbye.